the one and only Miss Kat McNamara is in the house, everybody. There she is.
Hello.
How are you?
I am good. How are you?
I'm very sweaty.
Well, that's all of us, I think, right now.
Yeah.
Quarantine.
Quarantine. Yeah, literally. Even when it's freezing out, I still feel sweaty and nervous. I'm normally in a different room. I don't know if you watched any of the other shows, but I'm normally in a downstairs room with I have a better setup with a whole thing going on, but I didn't make it downstairs. I'm here. So anyway, I'm just sort of getting used to be. I'm in my bed. I'll be really honest with you. There's a whole thing going on.
That's the new business casual, right? You know, we're all in
Is
sweats,
this?
we're in bed, we're on the couch, we're just chilling.
Yeah,
That's what we
this
do.
is the new formal. This is the new. All right, now we're getting back in it. Sorry guys, we're a little bit late. We had a false start, but now we're back. This is happening. I went downstairs. I was upstairs in my bedroom. Now I'm down in the murder room. I'm glad you guys are here. People are showing up. Waiting for Kat to show up. Oh my God! But I still have the AC going. Maybe you can hear it. Anyway. We're gonna do it. This is gonna be fun. We're doing it. And now I'm in my seat. I got my setup. It's a whole different scenario. It's a different world now. Yeah. How's everyone doing? Everyone having fun? It's Tuesday night. It's the greatest night. It's the greatest night for entertainment you'll ever see in your entire life. Where are those epic pictures? Thank you, Yogi. I didn't have time to put them up. Maybe I'll put them up for the 10 o'clock. They're right here, though. The epic pictures are here. They're just not up yet. Let's get this going. We're already in it, and now, hold on. We were interrupted because I ended up going downstairs. It was a whole long story about why I couldn't go downstairs before, and then all of a sudden I could. What happened? The AC forced you to quit. AC did not force me to quit. My wife wasn't home, and I couldn't leave the kids alone. And so she walked in just as I was starting. You know what I mean? So there you go. Anyway, so now we're here. I hope everyone's looking good. I had a fun day. I did a lot of shopping and running around. My kids started saying I was fuzzy. Got very weird. Here we go. Kat's back, everyone. Let's get this started. The fantastic Kat McNamara is here, everybody.
And now we're both back.
Now we're both back. Oh my God. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Don't worry about it.
I ended up going downstairs because I thought the connection's better here.
That works.
Yeah. You look fantastic for someone
thank you.
Who hasn't probably left the house in 7 to 8 years. You look fantastic.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it feels like 7 to 8 years at this point.
Yeah, I know. It does. It really does. It feels like it's been 4 months, but for me, I literally haven't done much outside of my apartment in probably 9 years. About 9 years. That's how it feels. Yeah, that's how it feels. But at least you've got Bob.
I do. Bob and I are. We've had our ups and downs in our relationship.
Oh yeah.
I think at this point we're definitely ready to see other people. But he's still a great roommate. He's so sturdy and solid, strong, silent guy. He's just there.
He doesn't complain much.
No. But then the alternative of that is he doesn't ever add much to the conversation.
Right. You got to keep the ball in the air the entire time.
Yeah.
It's tough.
I think that's ultimately why our relationship failed.
Yeah. I thought he was a little bit stiff. I'm not going to lie to you.
It's true.
Yeah, but you can beat up on him.
He's just emotionally unavailable.
He's not emotionally available at all. Zero. I think he has one emotion. That's anger.
Yeah. pretty much.
At least he always has resting angry face.
He does. I thought I could fix him, you know? I thought I could help him see another side of things, especially spending so much time together. And it just ultimately, you know, some things never changed.
It didn't happen for us, yeah. I love it.
I feel like this is a rolling comedy bit that I've been doing this entire quarantine.
You should be. It's good. It's a good bit. It's a solid bit. You should keep that bit going.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, I love it. What have you been doing besides trying to make things work with Bob? Have you been doing anything in the sun?
Yeah, I've been sitting in the sun, so I have a tan for the first time in like 10 years, which is nice.
Really?
Yeah.
Because you're usually very pale.
I'm very pale. I spend a lot of time in Canada. So
That's true.
The Irish girl gets very pale. But I've been working out a lot. I built a treadmill the first week of quarantine. You
built a treadmill?
Yeah, you know, they come in a box and you have to, you know, Allen wrench all the pieces together.
Was there a motor in it? Was it heavy?
Oh yeah, no, it's a real treadmill.
Oh my God.
Situation. Yeah, so I built that.
That would take me the whole time.
It took me a minute. And I was hoping that the motor wouldn't fall on my head as well as I was Allen wrenching underneath it, but I survived. Yeah. I lived to tell the tale.
I'm very impressed. I really am. Yeah.
But I've been hiking a lot of trails. I've been developing projects. My friends and I shot a horror movie a couple.
I want to talk about that. I'm very curious about that. So, does it have a name yet?
It's called Untitled Horror Movie.
Yeah, that's perfect. You know what? No one will ever forget it.
Exactly. Well, that's part of the whole joke of the thing is within it. It's about a group of 6 actors who finds out their show is canceled and decides to take matters into their own hands. And of course, unwittingly unleashes an evil entity. But what's so fun about it is because it was written by friends of ours, all of us that were in the film. Each character is something that we've kind of never gotten to play before and something that, you know, really we get to have fun with. The fact that it's a dark horror comedy. And so I play this girl who's completely vapid and kind of off her rocker. And it's so much fun. But it was a very terrifying process, given that I had to set up every shot. I had to transfer all the files and make sure they got to the appropriate people. I had to do special effects makeup. I had to, you know, do props, and costumes, and set deck and everything all by myself.
Isn't that amazing? That you then had to do everything.
It's terrifying.
It's terrifying, but you're forced to be your own DP and makeup and costume. Like that's what an experience. It's like you're working on a soap opera.
It really was. And I mean, thank God we had an incredible DP and an incredible director that we were all on Zoom together every time we were shooting. So bless our DOP, because he would walk each of us actors through every single shot and go, okay, maybe shut this blind, move this light over here, put a trash bag over it. Okay, now put this over here, and help us set up sound and just take us step by step. But I learned so much.
I'm sure. I'm sure. Just about lighting alone, I'm sure you learned a lot.
Oh my God. I mean, I always have been a person to really, really have a great amount of respect for the crew. Because, I mean, that's why I love what we do, right? Is because it takes every single person being an expert in their department. But I tell you, my appreciation has just gone through the roof, even more than I thought it ever could.
I'm sure. Wow. I would love to try that. Just you set up every shot. And you wrote the script together, or some of your friends wrote the script?
So it was the director and my friend wrote it together because they were sick of, you know, sitting around. And then I think they called me, and they're like family to me. So they said, "You're doing this movie, right?" And I went, "Sure, yeah, why not? It'll be fun." And I learned so much, and I had a blast. And I actually think it's going to be a pretty fun one.
I can't wait. So how is everyone? So in the plot, everyone's at home in their own home?
Yeah, everybody's at home, and I can't say too much about it because they're trying to keep some of it under wraps. But we had a lot of group scenes that were on Zoom. So we would all be on Zoom together on headphones so that our sound wasn't corrupted, and then just be able to have that quippy dialogue that we wanted to have, but still all be safe. Right.
And does it take place during a pandemic, or does that not come up?
We just don't even mention it. Because we wanted to have it be an escape for people and to sort of allow people to not think about this thing that we're all going through.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. So everyone's home, but no one's talking about it in the movie.
Exactly.
No one's mentioned the fact that no one's face to face in the entire film. I love it.
Yeah.
It's just everyone's lazy. No one wants to leave their house. I get it. It's LA. No one wants to cross the 405. I know. I've known lots of relationships of friends in LA who don't speak now because no one would visit the other one because they didn't want to, go east or west. It's kind of funny.
I FaceTime with my friends on the west side.
Yeah. Having friends, if you're on the east side, having friends on the west side is like having a friend in Philly.
Oh yeah.
It's like it's like 2 hours away. It's like I'll see whenever I see you. I'm not gonna go there. Anyway. So many other things I want to discuss with you. So you've been doing this since you were a little kid, very little kid.
Yes and no. I mean, I started theater when I was about 12, and then ever since then. But before I started in this industry, I didn't even know that acting was a job that a person could do. It was my whole family's in science and medicine, and growing up in Kansas City, it's not something I had ever considered. I wanted to be an economist as a kid.
As a kid. I loved it as a kid. As a little, like, 6-year-old, you're like, can't I just be an economist like a regular person?
Yeah,
that's
true.
Like a heroic job?
All I wanted in my life was to grow up and go into developmental economics. And then I fell into doing theater and just absolutely fell in love with it and never looked back.
Right. At what age? What age were you bitten?
I was 12. And then at 14 is when I moved to New York to do the Broadway show.
How did that happen? How did I'm just curious, because I was a child actor, and I would go to New York to audition and stuff, but just like ending up in a little night music when you just got into acting is kind of an amazing thing.
It was really bizarre, and that's sort of been, over the course of my career, it's been a lot of instances of just taking a chance and going, well, I don't think this is going to lead anywhere, but we'll see what happens. And, in Kansas City, there's a huge regional theater community that's wonderful.
Right.
I never thought I'd live in Kansas City. I thought I'd, work at the bank doing economics and then go do theater in the evening, and that would be it, and it would be wonderful. But they bring in a lot of actors from New York sometimes to do different parts in the plays and all that.
Right.
And I worked with a woman who ended up in A Little Night Music. And apparently they needed an immediate replacement in the show at one point, and she recommended me. And then I get a phone call saying, hey, if you want, come in 2 days and audition for A Little Night Music. You were recommended to us. And I had never been to New York in my life. And so I went, well, I mean, what an opportunity. I'm never going to have a chance to audition for another Broadway show. I'm never going to have enough to go to New York like this. Let's go and just see what happens.
Yeah.
And the audition, the callback were in the same day. And a week later, I was living in New York working on a Broadway show.
Did one of your parents come with you?
Yeah. And then my mom moved with me to New York. But it was funny because I had just finished the audition and the callback, and I was on such a high being like, oh my God, I can't believe that I made the callback. I just got to spend a day in New York City. And I was at LaGuardia getting ready to fly home, and I get the phone call when I haven't even left New York yet. And they called me, and this was like 40 minutes after the callback. They said, hey, congratulations. Be here in a week, ready to stay for 6 months or more. And so I was like crying in the airport. I swear they almost didn't let me on the airplane because it was crazy. And then within a week of moving to New York, I knew I was never, I had to stay in New York. My whole life had changed. It was kind of.
How long did you end up staying?
So I lived in New York for a little over a year, and I never intended to leave because I stopped the show there. It ran for like a year, and then I started working in film and TV a little bit. But I was too tall to work as a kid on Broadway anymore because there's sort of a height cap that a lot of people don't know about.
Yeah.
I was a lot taller than that already, and I booked a job in LA. I booked a pilot for Disney Channel out here. It was supposed 8 years ago, they tried to do High School Musical, the series, before they did it on Disney Plus. And so I had gotten that pilot, and I was going out to LA to shoot it. And I was like, oh, well, I'll stay in LA for 2 months and see how that goes. And then 2 months turned into 6 months, and then they asked us to stay longer. And then 10 years later, I'm still living in LA.
How'd that pilot end up?
I actually loved it. It was such a great pilot, but I think it's so funny now to look back on it, because like Beanie Feldstein played my best friend and like sidekick in the pilot, and now she's gone on to do so many incredible things. And there's so many people like that were in that I keep running into later in various circles. But
of course,
the dancers that were on the show, so many of them have gone on to like do astronomically incredible things, and it's amazing to just kind of track that. But it was a great pilot, and I don't know the reasoning fully. That's above my pay grade, but it was a great experience, and it got me to LA.
Yeah, and kept you there.
Yeah,
I know. And then I was so impressed that you did the 24-hour plays. It was so great.
Oh,
I loved it. I mean, I know so many of my friends are involved in that and who do it every year, and the writers and actors and da. So I was so psyched that you did that you kept your theater roots. You haven't
so great.
completely left it.
I've been dying to go back to theater forever.
Yeah.
There's been so many times where I've been supposed to go to New York for different callbacks for shows and different things, and I've popped in to do a few readings on the DL of certain things. But it's those are my roots. Like, I'm so much more comfortable on a stage than anywhere else.
Yeah.
And there's something about a live audience it's such a rush, and it's such a visceral experience to have that weird intimacy you get to have with the audience every night, because it's so special and it's so on the surface, and it's an art form that's like nothing else. That's why I'm so grateful that there are things like 24-hour plays, which I got to do one in person, but then doing the viral monologues a couple of times during quarantine has been so great. Yeah. And then having things like Hamilton be on Disney Plus now, where people can really, really see theater for what it is, and get to have something so accessible. I've seen so many people online discovering theater because of things like that. And it's just, even though Broadway's closed, which breaks my heart, at least people can rediscover theater and be excited about it for when it does come back.
Hopefully, yes. Hopefully it'll open up the audience to theater more. Because there is, I forgot what network it is, but they're showing a Broadway show every week or every night, a different one that was filmed last year or something like that. I forgot what network it is. Yeah, some network is showing a different Broadway show from last year every week. I forgot which it was, but I thought that was really neat if people tune in. It's neat, and it's neat seeing seeing the viral monologues is such an interesting, because everyone's shooting them at home, and then so it has to sort of take place in your home, Yeah. Mm-hmm. And Bob did a nice cameo in it. I was very impressed.
True. That was actually how Bob came to be the whole Bob joke came to be in the first place.
Oh, was he your prop?
He was my prop in the first one. And I just had the camera set up, and I was kind of losing my mind because I wasn't used to being in quarantine yet. It was the first week that I had been in quarantine, and the camera was running, and I just went on my own diatribe about Bob and looked back at the video and went, wow, okay, I completely lost it for a minute, but I ended up posting that video as a preview for what was to come. And then ever since then, I've been getting endless trouble about Bob from everyone in my life, and I just love it.
Well, he's trouble. I could tell. He's trouble from day one. Mm-hmm. I'm sure he doesn't help clean up. It's the whole thing. It's the whole thing with Bob.
It's true.
One of the other things I want to talk about was your manifesto that you wrote on Instagram.
Oh, the thing I wrote a few weeks ago during the whole Black Lives Matter.
Yeah, I'm very impressed with it. It's 9 pages long.
Thank you.
It's really something special. It's like a campaign speech.
Thank you. I mean, I've always loved to write, and there are certain times, there have been a couple times in the last several years where there's so many things happening in the world, and there's so much I want to say, and the only way I can articulate it is to write. And it took me a couple days. It's so funny. I woke up one morning, and I was open social media, and it's when everything was still really violent and really visceral and kind of volatile on all sides. And I, being the sort of empathic person that I am, I hate seeing the world in pain, and I hate seeing people at that sort of limit where they are hurting to that level. And at this point in the world, we're so lucky to have social media and the fact that it brings a sense of unity to the world, or we have at least an opportunity to do so. And when, you know, there is such conflict, it's really saddening. And I wanted to put it was received in a various different ways, so I ended up taking it off of Twitter because there was a lot of controversy over it at one point. But my intention,
it's weird on Twitter, you felt it got a lot of backlash, or people
there
had
was a
problems
very
with it?
mixed response on Twitter, and Instagram was mostly positive, so I left it on one and took it off the other. But you know, my intention with it was to not claim anyone else's experience, and only to, you know, because I know there's so many aspects of the Black Lives Matter movement and things that I will never understand, and I will never be able to speak to. But I wanted to provide a little bit of hope and a little bit of positivity, and at least provide a perspective of, yes, things are messed up, and yes, there's a lot of wrong that's been done, but my hope for the world, and the only way I can get through things, is by looking for the silver lining and looking to it and going, hopefully, let's try together to make something good out of all of this bad, because that's the only way that it can be sort of reconciled in any way. And I think the world has made that turn, and people are beginning to do that, and are beginning to, myself included, beginning to educate themselves and beginning to try and learn about the experiences of others to look for a solution that we can make this world a better place. You know, and just be there to support each other as a worldwide community, because what better time than right now when the world is on pause for us to sort of reflect and reassess.
It's kind of amazing how it happened. I mean, I'm not surprised, because I feel like because everyone was at home stewing and thinking and in their own heads, and then something awful happens, the cops kill another black guy, as they do every month or so. And I'm not surprised that people exploded, that it really exploded. Because people, wanted to get out of the house. People were mad at the world for being stuck at home. And then this was like a thing of like, they can concentrate on it a little bit. You know what I mean?
It's a time of change for sure.
Time of change. And it was interesting what you wrote. I want a couple quotes I thought were interesting. The first thing you said was like, I didn't want things to get misinterpreted. Like a lot of well-intentioned thoughts and well-intentioned words can be misinterpreted. What exactly do you mean by that? You didn't want your words to get twisted?
Well, it's the nature of social media, and it's the nature of when you write something as opposed to when you say it. I wanted to be sure to say that just because I didn't want to be seen as claiming any experience that was not my own, or claiming any or even right to speak about it that wasn't my own. But my heart was hurting, and that's the only way I knew to kind of try and it's the only thing I knew to do at that point.
It's really something. It's really great. You could tell it's so straight from the heart. You could tell it's you opening up and just not even editing yourself and just straight writing. But it's also like I said, it's like a campaign speech at times. Like it's really well written about like being our best and honoring what this country's about, and honoring what we are, who we are, and who are we, and think about who are we as a people, who are we as a country. We have to think about it.
We do have to think about it. Yeah. We have to force ourselves and really confront ourselves with how can we be better, and how can we do better, and how can we, it's especially if you think about even like the last presidential election, my age demographic bracket was the the lowest, or one of the lowest brackets to even get out and vote. And it's our time. It's our time where we need to really stand up and hold ourselves accountable and not expect other people to fix things for us. We have to create the world we want to live in, and do so in a way that's gonna be beneficial for everyone.
I know. Speaking of voting, a friend of mine just sent me this thing that they made. Where is it? It's in my bag here somewhere. Here it is. It's a watch. It's like they call it an unfit bit, It's a watch that counts down to the election day.
Oh my god.
So it's a regular watch, but also has like a countdown to remind you to vote. And then it has you can set all kinds of alarms on. You can set the alarm to, November 3rd. I think it's called, what's it called? They just sent it to me today. I don't even know. Oh, the unfit one? Something like that. Anyway, it's cute. It's really cute. I don't normally wear a watch, but I'll start now.
That's a worthy cause.
Yeah, it's a worthy cause. It's a really good cause. It's just a watch because I feel like young people who also I feel like young people will never wear a watch. I feel like your generation will never wear watches. Like, what's the point, right?
I have really tiny wrists, so watches don't generally work for me. They just kind of, it just doesn't work.
What, they fall off? Every single watch falls off your hand?
They fall off, or they're heavy, or like the watch face is the same size as my wrist, and then it looks weird. And I carry my phone in my pocket anyway.
Same. I do too. We all have a phone in our pocket. We don't need an extra watch. But these are very cute and sweet. What else? So many other things I wanted to discuss. I really like that piece of that writing piece was sort of like in Jerry Maguire. Remember Jerry Maguire? He writes that manifesto and then.
Love Jerry Maguire.
I know, it's one of my favorite films of all time. I really do. It's one of probably, I would never really admit that, but now that I'm thinking about it, I've probably seen that the most. It's
It's always on somewhere.
It's always on. Always on.
It's one of those good movies. It has so many different sort of brackets that it fits into. I love it.
Yeah. I love everything about it. When he breaks up with Preston,
mm-hmm.
and she's doesn't want to accept it. She's not going to accept the breakup at first. I love that. She's not going to accept it. He's like, I think there's something missing here. She goes, nope, it's not going to happen. It's I can make it to the top of, the Matterhorn in 3 days. I can make this work. I was like, well, this isn't it's just a thing for you to accomplish,
Yeah.
Anyway. And Jerry Maguire's whole thing, Kush Lash. Yeah, he's
never gets old.
Awesome. Never gets old. I like the whole thing. Where am I? Oh yeah, I have a bunch of questions I wrote down for you. Where are they? Have you been back here?
Have you
been back to New York at all? Yeah.
Before quarantine, I was there for a bit. I was shooting a movie out there for a couple of weeks, and I mean, I love New York. I miss New York. When I was working in Toronto, I owned an apartment there for a little while because I was down there for the weekend, basically.
Oh wow.
But yeah, I love it. I'm working my way back to moving to New York, hopefully.
Okay, we're all waiting. It's changed. It's changed since the pandemic. It's the rats have grown huge.
Really?
And they've taken over Times Square. Times Square is like a human-free zone or something.
Okay.
And it's sort of like what they did in Seattle, except it's just the rats have taken over, and there's a couple aliens. Things are weird. It's just.
Can we train the rats to dance and sing, and then put a live stream on it and call it Broadway for Now?
Yeah, they are. They're. It's funny because there's a few of the rats who are trying to do a production of Cats. It's not working out. They're not very good. They're not good at it, but they think they are.
There's got to be some kind of copyright issue there.
There's copyright issue.
Well, change the species and make it a new
Andrew Lloyd Webber's trying to sue him. It's weird. Things have gotten weird. I told you. Things have gotten really, really, really weird. And of course, let's talk about The Stand.
Yes.
How appropriate that you guys did another Stand, and it hasn't come out yet. We won't see it.
Yeah, so we finished shooting that, I finished filming about a month before quarantine, and they finished filming as quarantine was happening, which is just insane. And it was obviously completely unrelated to quarantine and completely pre-COVID, but it's eerie how poignant the story is going to be. And I can't say too much about it, but as a Stephen King fan, what I can say is that they did it right. They went all out. Production went all out, and it's just such a rich, beautiful production, but also in the lovely absurdist way that Stephen King always tells his stories. I think it's going to be really timely and sort of, again, force us to confront a lot of things.
Really? Like
Yeah.
what kind of things? I'm very curious.
Well, it's less about a disease, honestly, and it's more about a social commentary of what, you know, what each of us is at our core as human beings. And that's kind of all I can say.
That's all you can.
I've got like such a huge gag order about this show.
Oh, for real?
Really, yeah, we can say very, very little. I have pink hair. I can say that.
Huge. That's a huge spoiler. Giant spoiler. But we all know the plot. I mean, the plot hasn't changed that much from the book, right?
He wrote a new ending.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What happens in it?
I can't tell you.
Oh, interesting. Okay. But the pandemic in the book, in the film, like takes out like 90% of the people, right? There's very few people left.
Yeah, I don't exactly 100% recall, and I don't know how they translated it to series. But I know it focuses less on that and more on, you know, the people that are left and sort of what they go through psychologically and socially as a society. But that's all I can really say. You'll have to watch it when it's released.
Right. When is that? Do you have a date?
I wish.
You don't even have a date?
No.
They don't know.
No.
Why not now? I don't understand what the holdup is. Now is the time. People are home.
No idea.
You know? And also, are people, what's going on in LA? I feel like LA is going through a weird time right now where like it's spiking. Everyone's getting infected. Infections are going up, but people are going out. Restaurants are opening up. No? Yep. Are people going out? Are people doing stuff? Is there a lot of is everyone like making out with each other and that's why everyone's getting infected?
Well, I don't know because I'm not a part of those kind of social activities. I am one of the people who is trying my best to be smart. My mother's an infectious disease scientist. If I don't do this right. I'm in trouble personally.
What did she tell you about it?
Well, she's been such an asset to have during this because she's helped me kind of cut through any media bias and cut through all of the plethora of information that's out there. And she's kind of been my quarantine coach, as it were. But at this point, you know, she's encouraged me to go hiking and to go do all things, but always wear a mask and always, you know, unless it's just me on a trail and nobody else within sight. Every time I get back in the house from being out at all, whether I hike or go to the grocery store, I take a shower, I disinfect my phone, I put all the clothes immediately in the washing machine, and, you know, I wash my hands, I clean my house all the time. It's one of those things where you just have to, you know, I disinfect any packaging, I leave all the boxes, I immediately take the cardboard out to the recycling, and you just have to kind of keep your place clean. I'm trying to work out a lot because the healthier you are, the, you know, better things are in general health-wise. And I'm staying away from people for the most part. You know, the only kind of social interaction I've had, I have a friend who's also been strictly quarantined who has a big patio. And I go sit on the other side of her patio and we kind of shout at each other and wave. And so we have a little bubble of people that all kind of sit social distant, and we're the only other people that we see, but that's it.
Do you yell at each other? Do you chat?
Yeah, we chat, but you know, what?
Do you guys still cheer at 7:00, or is that just us?
They don't really do. They haven't ever done that in LA, which I think is such a shame. They did for a little bit, but that kind of died off. It's not the same as New York where you can kind of hear the whole city doing it. Yeah. I miss it.
There was a guy across the street from us who was like on the same like level as our apartment, and he was like the block cheerleader. He's the loudest guy. He had the speaker in the window playing like New York, New York, and he would always scream, "You got this, New York! We got this, New York!" which is funny because in the context of a disease, I find that funny. It's like, we all got this. Everyone got this. It's like, yes, we do. We're all infected. We're all infected. Thank you.
I will say, though, the one sort of saving grace of all of this, especially since I've been quarantined on my own for over 100 days now.
Wow.
The one saving grace is that everybody's going through this in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Everybody has ups and downs with this. And I think, I'm such a stubborn optimist that at the beginning I was like, I'm fine. It's going to be fine. Every day is going to be great. I'm going to get so much done. This is going to be wonderful. And then as soon as I accepted the fact that some days were going to be harder than others, and some days weren't going to be great, and some days I wasn't going to get anything done, it was a lot better.
Yeah. You can't hold yourself to a standard that's impossible. You have to let yourself just be. I've learned that. That's a lot of lessons. People have learned a lot of lessons about ourselves, I feel like. Yeah. Like I used to not understand how prisoners hated solitary confinement. I was like, just hang out by yourself. Why is that so hard? And now I get it. I get why solitary confinement's hard in a way that I would never understand unless I went through it. You know, it's tough. And I feel like some days I really feel like I'm gonna crack. And sometimes I'm really depressed. And
that's when you reach out to somebody else who is also going through it, and you go, this is hard. Or you can take a walk. For a while the trails here were closed in LA, and that, I can only imagine what everybody's going through in New York, because just being able to get outside and get some fresh air and go into nature has been my literal saving grace.
Well, we've been taking, I have these little babies, my two little girls. We've been taking them to the park almost every day. So people are outside, especially since May started and the weather started getting nice. I've noticed that the park is packed, the streets are getting packed. Like people are getting out, people are starting to walk around. You know what I'm saying? But now it's the summer and everyone's kind of left, so the city's a little more empty. But no, people are out. There's always people in the park. It's always packed. But so it feels a little less lonely because people are around. But there's no one's very little connecting. You're not really hanging out with anyone. It's a lot of distant connecting. Although, to tell you the truth, now that our infections are low, and now all the outdoor restaurants are open, everyone's eating outside now, and so it's a little dangerous because every outdoor restaurant's packed.
That's
so I'm walking around the city, I'm every outdoor restaurant's packed, and people are doing comedy shows outside. So there's a lot of new shows that people are doing shows outside, but then again, it's crowds. There's crowds there, So I'm just worried that we won't slip. I just don't want us to slip, and start getting thousands of infections again. Anyway, I don't know when I'm going to get a real live audience again. I miss it. As we were saying before, I miss a live audience.
Yeah.
There's very few of those, and it'll come back. I mean, it'll be 3 or 4 years, but it'll be fine.
100%.
We'll have to live. We'll have to learn to live in our houses for until 2026, I think. Maybe not. Maybe 2025.
I miss work so much.
Yeah?
Yeah.
But I feel in production, New York is starting production again.
Wow.
On films. Yeah. I just heard that today. One of the crew guys from The Tonight Show called me and was like, yeah, there's production starting again soon, August, with rules. There'll be a certain number of crew, certain number of actors, everyone has to be in a certain place, but they're going to start again here.
Wow.
I don't know when that's going to happen in LA.
Who
knows, right? Have you started any hobbies? Can you juggle?
No, I didn't start any hobbies. The only things that I did were I sort of assembled a home gym. I feel like the episode of Friends where Chandler says he's going to quit the gym because I've sort of figured out how to do everything in my house, which is nice. I've been baking a lot, which is good. When things were super shut down here in LA, I just needed to get out of my house. And so I baked a bunch of cookies and went around to people that I knew were also quarantined and dropped things off on their doorstep, little bags of cookies.
You're so sweet. Oh my God, you're the sweetest. That's great.
I got to be the cookie fairy. Well,
you're the cookie fairy.
Drive around and get out of my house, and there was no traffic in LA. And I tell you, the city looked technicolor because there was no smog. It was so
Oh, right.
beautiful.
I've heard this. I've heard LA, like the air is so clean now. And like the
It was,
sunsets are great.
oh my God, it was so beautiful. It's kind of started to get back to normal now, but it was so stunning. I was driving around going, I have never seen the sky this blue, and I've never seen this hill so green.
Oh, wow.
It was insane. But then I got to, you know, see my friends from really far away as I waved to them.
It'd be better if they didn't know it was you. Would that be better if you just dropped off the cookies and said, this is from the Cookie Fairy, and just left?
See, I used to do that when we were in Toronto shooting Shadowhunters. We all lived within like 3 blocks of each other, and everybody's doorman at the apartment had seen my face a million times because we'd all been in and out of everybody's apartments. Right. And so I would get in a baking mood, and I would go drop off cookies at all the boys' apartments, and they would text me, and I wouldn't tell them, and they would text me later and go, Kat, please tell me this bag of cookies is from you. Like, I don't know who left cookies. And also, please stop baking, because I have to be shirtless next week, and I need to keep myself together. So I quickly stopped doing it.
Right. Was there, I feel like just from the little I watched that show, was there a week they weren't shirtless? I feel like someone was shirtless every single show.
It happened occasionally. But what made that show so fun is we all trained together. Like, I went to the gym with the boys for 4 years, and that was my favorite thing in the world.
Yeah?
It's so much more fun when you go get tortured with your friends.
Right. Did you, when you train together with like a guy, like a studio guy would train you guys? Yeah,
we had a couple different folks. So we had a fitness trainer who I still work with. He's absolutely incredible. He's in Toronto, but he has a lot of virtual clients. So he's amazing. He literally taught me how to work out. But he would train us in the gym with like weights and cardio and things like that. And then our stunt coordinators taught us all how to fight, because they were all former professional boxers and world champion martial artists and things like this. And they taught us how to fight. And they taught us our weapons work, and they taught us everything else. And it was so amazing to get to train with these guys every day. And that's why I have this tattoo, actually. It's what
does that say?
It says "Not Fragile."
Oh, it's not fragile.
And one of our boxing coach, who was like a dad to all of us, he also rigged all the wires and pulled us up. His name was Dean. He passed away a little over a year ago. And something he always used to tell me, he said, "You're not fragile. I'm a little tiny girl who's trying to fight, and a lot of people would underestimate me. He's the one person who never ever did." And he saw me, and he's like, "You're not fragile. I see you."
No.
He told me that over and over again, and I had no idea. But when he passed, he told his wife that if anything ever happened to him, he wanted "not fragile" on top of his urn. And I had no idea that phrase meant something so special to him.
Wow.
And that's why I have this now.
Wow. Was it on his urn?
I believe so, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I didn't find out about it till after he had passed.
Yeah.
And after I had the test.
And you're not fragile. You're tough. You're about as tough as it gets.
I'm a tough cookie.
Yeah, you are tough, Cookie. Wow.
You've seen me play baseball.
Oh, yeah. You don't fuck around at all. At all.
I kind of have to check myself sometimes during the big slick, though, because I get, for some reason, I think it's because I grew up playing softball. I get really competitive when it comes to our softball games. And I feel like the parent yelling on the side of the side of the dugout, but oh well.
Do you feel weird when you don't get a hit? Like, are you pissed? When you don't get a hit, if you ever go up to bat?
Oh, I didn't hear you. You broke up.
Oh yeah, I know. I saw that something happened there. No, when you go up to bat and you don't get a hit, are you pissed?
No, I'm a little sad because I feel like I let the team down. Maybe a little embarrassed, but I'm not upset in that way. I just get really excited cheering for people. I'm just like, go, run, steal the base, go.
Right. That game is so silly. That game is so infinitely silly. Because I don't know if you remember, but I don't know if it happened last year, but they used to have Keckner calling the game from the press box.
Yep.
and then you would have to follow whatever he said happened, even though that wasn't physically what happened. So like the first time I played, I hit the ball, I got on first, and I got called out. I got caught at first, and he called from the press box. He goes, and Seth is safe at first, and that's what we had to play, that I was safe, because that's what he called. Or like, you catch a ball, and he's like, and Kat she drops the ball. So then you have to drop the ball.
Oh no, I dropped the ball.
Yeah, you have to do whatever Keckner says.
I think that's okay. I love Keckner. Yeah. I think that's an all right way to live life, you know?
I love Keckner. I'm a little scared of him.
No.
I think he's crazy. I think he's legitimately crazy.
Maybe crazy brilliant.
He is brilliant. He's totally brilliant. He is very funny. And he's had a career. You forget the stuff he's done. He's been in everything.
Yeah.
Everything you forget.
The number of movies I'm watching from time to time, I'll just be watching whatever's on TV. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's Keckner. And there's Keckner.
Everything.
He's everywhere.
Yeah, he was on SNL for like 2 years. He's been in everything.
Yeah.
I missed the Big Slick. I can't believe we didn't do it. It's my favorite weekend of the entire year.
Me too.
It's really was heartbreaking to me that we could. In fact, I had a job that was scheduled for that weekend that I said no to. Like I had supposed to shoot something. I was like, I can't do it. I can't do it that weekend. If we want to do it another weekend, I'll do it. But that's it. Then I can't do it.
I do the same thing. I tell my people every year, I'm like, these dates, I'm not doing anything. I am booked. Yeah. I am unavailable.
Yeah.
It's important.
And then they both got canceled.
I know.
But I know. And it is important. It's very important. Yeah. In fact, last year, I think one of my favorite parts was when you and I played that game with those kids.
Oh my God.
Remember that? How sweet was that?
Oh, I do. Given that my whole family's in science and medicine, I've been volunteering in hospitals and doing things like that for years. And it's always my favorite thing to meet these kids and their families because they are so special. And they have this very special perspective of optimism that I just think it's my favorite thing to just get to go in there and be silly and make these kids laugh and give them something else to think about for a little bit. Yeah,
that's it. That's all they need. And I just you're saying I can't believe it always lifts my heart how much they're not sad. Yeah. They're not depressed. They want to play. They want to have fun. They want to be silly. I don't know. It gets me every single time. And now that I have kids, it's a whole different story.
I'm sure.
But when I went before, I'd be like, oh, this is cute and it's touching. But now having them, I almost bawled 3 or 4 times. Yeah. It's just, you see it differently.
I'm sure.
You know, I couldn't, seeing the parents, going to the room and seeing the parents and their faces and what they're going through. I was like, wow, I cannot believe what you guys deal with. So lucky. So lucky. Anyway, you've got a lot of, I don't know if you know this, but 68 people have asked questions.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know if you want to answer any of them or deal with any of those fans.
Well, let's do a couple just because they've been so kind as to send them in. But then I should probably.
Okay. You got to go.
Work to do.
You have a lot of work to do. You got to build another gym.
It's true.
Some people are asking if you miss Arrow.
I do miss Arrow. I was watching some old clips of Mia Smoke the other day, and it just made me miss everybody. And I got to see Ben at a social distance, who plays my brother William on the show, and JoJo, who plays and my other counterpart. You know, we're like the future Team Arrow, as it were. And they're just such great individuals. And when you get to work with people that you care about so much, it just makes the job so much better. And I give so much credit to the writers because they took such good care of Mia throughout that whole process, being a character that doesn't exist in the comics and a character that is, the child of 2 characters and of a relationship that was so beloved. They made her arc so deep and nuanced and gave me so much to do. And I loved every second of it.
Wow. A lot of people want to know what's going on with Shadowhunters. Is there going to be new or is it over? Is it over?
People keep asking about it. So, we finished shooting so long ago, but I would never say never on that. That's another job where we were family, and we still are family. And I love the story. I love the characters. I would love to do, in a few years, to kind of do a Where Are They Now, even just 1 hour special where we just kind of see what's happened over the last several years to these characters, just because.
Yeah, of course. People would love it. People would love it.
You know, I never say never on that because that fandom is so strong.
So strong. It's nuts. Someone wants to know what Hamilton character you'd play if you were in the show.
I mean, secretly, there's so many fantastic characters. Like, I always have kind of wanted to play Burr because
oh, really?
I think he's such an interesting,
yeah,
not quite villain, but I don't know. I love the idea of gender bending it as well. But
yeah,
and I've learned most of the different, you know, songs in there as well. I was really proud of myself when I learned every word to Cabinet Battle #1. And I was really happy about that because obviously I'm not, you know, that's not necessarily my forte, but I'll learn anything that Lin-Manuel Miranda writes.
Really? Anything?
Yeah, I'll give it my best shot. I won't throw in my shot.
You see what you did there? You see what you did there?
I do.
Let me see. There's so many others. A lot of people just saying hi. Do you miss the Shadowhunters? A lot of people just asking about Shadowhunters. What Skylar's sister would you play? They all assume you want to play a girl, and you're like, no, I'm playing Burr.
Angelica. I would play Angelica. I mean, I'd play any of them, but I love all that. Satisfied is like.
What's it? Did you ever choke someone's blood flow? Choke off someone's blood flow? That's a crazy question. Oh my Lord.
Next question?
Yeah, someone's like, how many people have you killed? So
on
random.
Screen? A lot.
Yeah, I think they mean on screen a lot. Yeah.
I'm not sure exactly somebody calculated the kill count for every episode of Shadowhunters though. They would have like how many demons did each Shadowhunter kill and with what method and accidentally or not accidentally.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So were you shocked at the totals? You're like, I've killed like 20,000 people.
I was surprised. I mean, obviously, you know, my character was sort of the Harry Potter learning everything about the world. But yeah, she did all right. She learned. Yeah,
she learned. That's great. Yeah, I mean that genre can always get redone. It'll never die. I feel like, you know, any of that supernatural stuff. I feel like is great, and kids will always love it. That's why I'm surprised it ended. To be honest with you.
Again, it's one of those things that it's, you know, the politics above my pay grade. But what's great about Shadowhunters and why it will always be so special to me, aside from the amazing experience I had working on it and all of the people that became family that I had the opportunity to meet, this fandom took the show beyond us, beyond the characters, beyond the actors, beyond the story, and they created a community of people that now have a place. Because so much of the show and the real essence of what the message is that no matter who you are, no matter what you are, if you have angel blood, demon blood, it doesn't matter. It's the choices that you make that make you a hero. Mm-hmm. And it's the things that you choose to do, and love makes you stronger no matter what. No matter who you love, you are worthy of it. And no matter, you know, what you are made of, no matter what blood runs through your veins, you're worthy of love, and love will make you stronger at the end. And that kind of love conquers all mentality, the fandom took that and ran with it and created this community in which they support each other. And there's fan artists that now, you know, that were 16 when the show started that now have careers and are selling their artwork online because the fandom made their work go viral. And there's people that have friends across the world that they feel they finally have a home and have a community and can be seen and heard. And, you know, to have been even a very, very small part of that is the biggest gift I think I will ever have in my career.
Wow. That's amazing. You don't think about just doing a show, how many lives you've changed. Like, truly changed.
Well,
you know?
It's really the fandom that did it.
Right.
Themselves, and that's what's so astounding. You know, they've changed my life, I think, more than I changed theirs. But I'm just grateful for it every single day. Wow.
It's really interesting when you see that happen, when you see a community start, and they start, and it's outside of you. It's bigger than you. It's bigger than the show.
Yeah.
It's just people starting to connect and really support each other and talk to each other, and all of a sudden they're doing their own thing outside of the show. It's wild. It's really wild.
It gives
I
me
love
hope
it. And
for the future.
yeah, what do they call themselves? Do they have a name?
I call them angels, but they are the Shadow Fam, and they always will be our Shadow Fam. They're the Shadow Fam. We're all one Shadow Fam.
That's great. Do you guys have your own like conventions? Do they get together? Is there like ShadowCon?
Yeah, so I've been doing different ones all over the world for years now, and it's my favorite thing because I get to actually meet these kids. I call them kids. They're not all kids, but I feel like they're my kids. But they come, they share their stories, and we just kind of get to run amok and get to celebrate this community together, and it's my favorite thing in the world. And I miss it so much. I've done a few virtual ones, but I have gotten to know so many of these kids now that I miss them. And we all are friends in a way, and I miss getting to be a part of that and like check in with them and check in on their lives and all that. But I stalk them on social media from time to time.
I'm sure.
I'm always there.
Yeah. Do you have a dummy account that you use to
No.
lurk?
No,
you don't?
I lurk on my own account. They see it. They know it. I like their tweets. I do Fan Art Friday. They know I'm watching.
What's Fan Art Friday? Does everyone show their art?
So I wanted to do something because there's so much incredible fan art for Shadowhunters, Arrow, and everything else, just on the internet in general. And I wanted to do something to say thank you and to kind of celebrate that. And I mean, there's so much out there. There's no way I can ever repost everything or retweet everything, but I try and pull as much as I can, and I put it on my Insta story every Friday. I'll just throw up whatever art I find and whatever's been sent to me or whatever's in the whatever time I have on Friday. Even if I've been doing it on set, sometimes they're like, Kat, when you draw set, I'm like, yeah, I'm coming, and like I'm walking to set and trying to post Fan Art Friday at the same time, just because I want to celebrate these people that put so much time and energy into that.
Yeah. That's huge. That's very special of you. That's very good. You got to do it. You got to give back. That's all. It's the least you can do. Literally the least. So but I'm just curious. They get together on their own, outside of the show.
Yeah, I believe so. I mean, I know they have their own like group chats and their own things independently that they do as well. But the community has grown so much, and it's just amazing to kind of watch them take it in their own hands and run with it.
Right, and at the cons, I'm sure there's like a few like very old dudes who stand out.
I don't know. I mean, everybody's it's all just one community.
It's a mix. Yeah. Okay. Did something just fall? I heard something fall in your house.
Yeah, something did fall. My neighbor walked by outside because I have like glass doors right here, so my neighbors are always right there and they're open because I like the fresh air.
Okay. Well, we can. You can get going. Yeah. You can get. I know you have a lot to do.
I really appreciate this, though. Thank you for.
Of course, thank you for coming on the show. You're so darling and special and sweet and smart, and it was really important for you to come on and talk about yourself. And if no one has read the Manifesto, it's still posted on Instagram. People should read it. It should be required.
My little attempt at a silver lining. There you go.
It should be required reading.
Aw, thanks so much, Seth. Anyway, I'll talk to you soon.
I'll talk to you soon. Later on, Kat. Bye, hon.
Well.
Kat McNamara, everyone, how special is she? Very sweet, earnest artist. She's the best. She's the absolute best. All right, so all you fans, I'm glad you guys liked it. I'm glad she was here. She was great. She answered a lot of questions. She talked about what you guys needed to discuss. I'm coming back with John Viner, producer, writer from Family Guy and The Cleveland Show. So I'm going to end this stream and start a new one with John Viner, and it's going to be really fun. It's going to get fun. It's going to be silly. I hope all the Shadow fam comes back, and I hope everyone's here. Okay? Again, you guys have been great. I hope everyone don't go anywhere. Everyone stay right where you are. Come right back here.